miss me? How y'all doing, guys? Happy Saturday. This is the Club of the Man 1993, and we are live for probably first of two, maybe three, because I have plans tonight. Not special, three, game talk was already. Welcome to the first of several streams I intend on doing this weekend to catch up. I'm sorry I didn't do any of them during the week this week. Wednesday night was just a rough night for me. It was one of those nights where it's like I thought I was able to grasp onto something I've been trying to get to for a long time, and then basically reality hit me a little bit on Wednesday. And I wasn't really in the best of moods Wednesday night. So unfortunately, I did not get to watch any wrestling at all on Wednesday night. So I spent the past two nights getting caught up. And today I'm going to start reviewing. I should get at least AEW and NXT in. SmackDown may have to wait till tomorrow. Trying to do another special live stream also, but we'll see how that goes. But we'll discuss all of that later on. Like I said, I'm sorry. It's just had some things come up this week. So it happens. But I'm going to continue, of course, to do these streams when I'm able to, and to do the special live streams that I've been wanting to do for a while when I want to as well. Again, trying to keep content going on this channel. Finally getting back into a groove, because I felt very burned out around Christmas last month. But like I said, I think it was because at the time work was just really getting to me. So now that things have settled down at work, again, I'm able to get back into a groove again. But we're going to review AEW Dynamite first here. The January 20th, 2021 episode of Dynamite is also placed at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. We're about a little over a month away from Revolution, and we're now a week and a half away from AEW's Beach Break, taking place on February 3rd. I know as of now, I believe we're getting Dr. Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. That's going to be an excellent match. We're going to be getting a six-man tag with Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers taking on the team of Pac, Jon Moxley, and Rey Fenix. And then, what else going to show? There's something else that's advertised. Oh, we're getting I believe the bachelor party? No, or the wedding. I think the wedding, one or two, between Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, which I'm not sure where this is going right now, because this whole storyline with Miro and Chuck Taylor, or Butler Charles Taylor, so little odd things going on right now with AEW, but nothing like to really, panic too much yet about, of course. But as far as this episode of Dynamite, I'll be real and say I thought it was one of the weaker episodes of Dynamite I've seen so far. Was not terrible. Some little nitpicks, though, I'm going to get to. This felt like a little bit of like a filler episode. I felt like we had a lot of repetition, and I feel like also the flaws of AEW Dark, like the continuity between AEW Dark and Dynamite, is starting to fall through the cracks a little bit. And I feel this episode showed that, especially with two matches against established talent and not so established talent, telling that proper story. So I'll talk about this episode, and again, I don't want to try to completely down it, but to me it was not one of my favorite episodes of Dynamite so far, and they're gonna happen. Again, AEW is not perfect. I feel like the shows where they make the mistakes it's stuff that I can feel like, okay, maybe they shouldn't have done that, but when there's they tried and it just didn't work. It's not intelligence insulting, it's just like, okay, you tried, but it didn't work. One of those things. So, let's roll into this and talk about the show. We've got nobody in the live chat, so let's get rolling here. After this, I'm going to get a little snack, do NXT, and then get a Five Guys burger, because I'm hungry. And then get ready for my new girlfriend to come over tonight. Anyways, so let's talk about the show. So, we opened up the show with Dark Order. And they're celebrating Negative One's birthday, which, of course, Negative One is Brody Lee Jr., son of just the late Brody Lee, rest in peace. And we get interrupted by Chaos Project, who insults Dark Order, and -1. Then we also have TH2 come out, and Hangman Adam Page join the party as well, and it leads to a tag match. Hangman Adam Page, Colt Cabana, Alex Reynolds, and John Silver of the Dark Order take on Luther, Serpentico, Angelico, and Jack Evans of Chaos Project, and TH2. And it was a fine match. I mean, I'm going to be real and say, I don't want them to... Not everything... I mean, I'm trying to say this in a very respectful way without, insulting it. But obviously this is just another, match, dedicated towards the memory of Brody Lee. They're trying... It looks like they're trying to steer the people involved in Dark Order as baby faces, it looks like. And at this point, you're going to have to. Because, who's going to want to boo, people that were involved with Brody Lee's character right now. With Brody Lee's stable, if you know what I mean. But I still feel there's only so far you can go with this. Like, eventually, we're going to have to move on from Brody Lee. I mean, is the time yet? No, obviously. It's only been, a month? So, obviously, we're still going to be grieving. And even especially during a time like the pandemic, where, because, from my experience, too, again, y'all know, my uncle passed away almost a year ago. Last April, he passed away. And I still feel like, to this day, we have not, besides the 1 hour family-only viewing that we got, I feel like we haven't had that, we haven't had any funeral service or anything for him, because we're waiting until we can have a bigger group, because for crying out loud, how many people probably want to come to his service because of everything he was involved with. But I feel like during this time, it is going to be difficult to fully be able to, move on from it, especially when you don't have, the proper, rituals when it comes to mourning a loss. But, for this being -1's birthday, fine. My thing is, I'm just saying is, I mean, I might be jumping the gun a little bit on this, and again, like I said, I don't want to sound disrespectful to the memory of Brody Lee, but we can't, I don't want, and if this was WWE, I probably wouldn't have as much faith, but since AEW, I do have faith, but the thing is I don't want it to be like, they have to base the Dark Order always around Brody Lee Jr. and the death of Brody Lee. At some point, we're going to have to move on from it. But with this being Brody Lee Jr.'s birthday, I think, it should be acceptable. But like I said, to keep constantly beating it in there, like I said, it's just like, okay, eventually we're going to have to move on from this. But what we got here was fine. It led to, I think it was Serpentico getting whacked in the head by -1 with a kendo stick, and he told off Chaos Theory, basically saying whose birthday are you ruining? My birthday was 3 days ago, idiots, or something like that. But then also afterwards, they popped the question again to Hangman Adam Page: will he join the Dark Order? And they all basically, it was kind of like in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, when SpongeBob was assuming that he was going to get, the manager's position at the Krusty Krab 2, and when they announced that Squidward, he's like, yeah, he's like, oh, wait a minute. It kind of like how it was here, except they actually, had a banner saying he said yes up here. That was funny. But then Hangman, of course, had said no, of course, but he said the storyline of I've been part of a team before, and look what happened with me. Referring to what happened with him, the Elite, and of course, Kenny Omega as well. My thing, though, is I gotta be real and say, I wanted more from how they ended, the tag team with Omega and Page. To me, it was just like, okay, they lost the titles, Kenny went to possibly attack Hangman, but then he dropped it. And then when he beat Hangman at Full Gear, which was a really excellent match, by the way. I'm not going to take away from that. He just beats him and walks away, and that was it. It's like, where was he, they're not telling much of a story that there's still bad blood between Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega. It was like, okay, I beat you, whatever. It's like, no, I wanted something a little more like, crispy, you know what I mean? Like something more like, something more with more tension to show that there's bad blood between Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega. So, and also, again, the Dark Order without Brody Lee, again, just feels a little bit lost. Like I said before, you can't keep going with them being, the group that was led by a man who recently passed away. Like I said, at some point we gotta move on from it. And as far as who's gonna be the leader, well, of course, before Brody Lee came to AEW, everybody was saying it was gonna be Matt Hardy. But Matt Hardy now is going in a completely different direction as well with his character. So I doubt it Matt Hardy is going to be. Unless if... Maybe? I don't know. But we'll talk about Matt Hardy in a little bit. Point is, though... I think Dark Order needs something to spice them up. But just having Hangman Adam Page join them, I feel like is not the answer. And as I keep saying, I feel like there has to be some follow-up story from Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega. Because like I said, like something was missing. That's one other thing I'll give about AEW. It's like they build very good to one match, but then the second match, even though they're kind of teasing a rematch with Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega, maybe a Revolution, I'm not sure. It seems like Moxley and Jericho, or Moxley and MJF. There's reasons for Jericho and MJF to want to get their a rematch. Jericho dropped the title, never got his rematch. And then MJF, the match was, Moxley was not allowed to use the Paradigm Shift. Even though MJF cheated, Jon Moxley then would cheat as well whenever the referee wasn't looking and he used the Paradigm Shift. So to me, it's like, technically, to make them both look like genius heels, they have their reasons for a rematch. So, like I always say too, Cody Rhodes and MJF. That was not just a one-match story and that's done. Like, when they teased, Cody Rhodes, once in a blue moon, has mentioned it. But that should be a feud that, like, while everything else is going on, it still feels like something's going on with that. And I'm not feeling that with AEW for some reason. So, that's some little nitpicks I have, and I know I went completely off subject there, talking about, Hangman Adam Page, Dark Order, Kenny Omega, I completely off the topic, but that's just this little bit of a gripe of a nitpick I have with AEW. But, whatever, it's not the end of the world to me. Let me see here. Live chat, we got Tyler in the live chat. What's up, B? He just left the hospital yesterday. Oh, dear. I hope you're okay, buddy. Dude, buddy, I hope you're okay. I don't know what happened, man, but whatever happened, good prayers for you as well. But that's the first part. That was only the first thing. I'm already like 15 minutes in this review. Shoot. Anyway, so moving on now. We have a segment backstage, head up for the main event, where it's a triple threat match with all 6 members of the Inner Circle teaming up. Jericho and MJF, Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager, and Pride and Powerful Santana and Ortiz. And the winner of that match, of course, Inner Circle blowing off steam, winner of that match will be the only tag team in the Inner Circle to fight for the tag titles. So, we have MJF telling Jericho he doesn't want the Inner Circle to break up, and Jericho says it will make the stable stronger what's going to happen tonight. Even though we all know MJF is trying to take full control of the Inner Circle and make it all his way. So stuff is coming with the Inner Circle. Tony Schiavone invites out Sting. And I guess it's the same where Sting's supposed to be congratulating Darby Allin. Darby Allin comes out shortly. And then Sting starts hyping up Allin, saying how Allin reminds him of himself. But then out comes Team Taz, angry, calling Sting's actions for being unfair and just interrupting him in what he did, getting involved in his business. And then Darby Allin says he's happy to take their issues to the street, basically. And I think it was announced that at Revolution, we're getting 2 members of Team Taz. I think it's Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, don't quote me on it, taking on the team of Darby Allin and Sting. Cool. Here's the problem, though. Is it just me, or are these segments with Sting, Darby Allin, and Team Taz starting to get a little bit repetitive? Like, the same thing is happening. Sting and Darby are coming out to, cut a typical babyface promo. We have Team Taz come out and say, "How dare you keep sticking your nose to in our business and whatnot. We want to fight," basically. Like, we've been doing that for about a month and a half now. Ever since Sting had first debuted in AEW on the December 2nd episode, Winter is Coming. Like, it's starting to, get a little bit repetitive. Like, something else needs to give here. Like, maybe Sting, which I'm very curious to see how Sting will do in the ring. I mean, we all knew when he came to AEW that Sting was going to have a match at some point. He wasn't just showing up to look good right there. He's going to have a match, even though he has not had a match in 5.5 years. The last match he had was at Night of Champions in September of 2015 against Seth Rollins. The match where he suffered that back injury with the buckle bomb. So again, I'm curious to see how this goes for Sting. But I feel like that we gotta try to, if we're not gonna be having this match till Revolution, we gotta mix it up a little bit more. Like, get something new. Don't be every typical week coming out basically being like, oh yeah, it's Sting! Darby Allin's awesome! You guys keep sticking your nose in our business! Like, it's just the same thing over and over each week, I feel like. And it's gotta change, I think. We'll talk about how, for SmackDown, how I was worried about them continuing on the storyline with Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens, but how they, put a little bit of a different twist on it, and now it's like, okay, cooking. This, it's like, okay, awesome, can't wait for the match, but to get there, I gotta keep seeing the same thing every week. It's like, but, we'll see how it goes there. So we have that. Then we got this. So, we have, the Young Bucks showing up at Kenny Omega's house for a meeting. They walk in, and that one interviewer, Alex Mendez, whatever his name is, he was randomly there. We don't know why. But they walk into Kenny's, I think it was his living room, and there's this and I almost made this but because I'm, again, being cautious because of what happened that got my channel taken down, I'm being a little cautious with this, but they walk in and find this oil painting, this awkward oil painting of Kenny Omega and Don Callis on Kenny Omega's wall, and it's of both Kenny Omega and Don Callis in blue jeans and no shirt on, leaning on each other, which I'm just like, a little awkward, don't you think? I don't know, were they trying to go with Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, the creation of Kevin or something like that, from the Festival of Friendship? But it looked awkward. I don't know, it just looked weird to me. But anyway, so Don Callis comes in and apologizes for the mix-up last week about how when it was going to be their tag match, it was Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers instead of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks taking on whoever they took on at the second night of New Year's Smash. He apologizes, but says Omega is unable to attend this meeting. He issues a check to the Young Bucks with the AEW Tag Team Champions kicking off at the suggestion that they could be paid off. And then Callis says they're holding him back, which pisses off the Young Bucks, and I guess they attacked Don Callis and gave him a black eye. And I think we have a segment later on where Don Callis shares his black eye with Kenny, telling him he was attacked by the Young Bucks. So obviously now it's looking like, even though there was a Bullet Club reunion between all 5 of them, Omega, the Good Brothers, and the Young Bucks, obviously Don Callis, who is obsessed with this whole thing with again, I like that the fact that with Kenny Omega being champion of Don Callis, like the whole idea is Kenny Omega trying to reclaim the whole fact that he is like the best in the world, and he's not just wrestling in AEW, but he's going to other promotions like Impact Wrestling, who's bought a partnership recently with AEW. I believe before I heard, even though not all the wrestlers on Impact are signed with AEW, that they're trying to make this idea that Kenny Omega is like the best wrestler in the world, and with that being said, though, he's trying to drive a wedge between Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. So we'll see where it goes. Like, are we going to eventually maybe get a match between the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers? Maybe, we'll see. Which could be a good match for sure, especially now the fact that the way they're booking the Good Brothers, what I've seen so far on AEW, meaning I haven't really watched any Impact Wrestling, even though I kind of would because of a certain someone, which I will mention later on at the end of this video. When we get to the women, I do see that the way they are booking the Good Brothers is how I think they should have booked them in WWE. Well, they were whenever he was there with AJ Styles at the beginning of their run, but then after that, we don't know what happened. Anyways, by the way, I gotta say also, I forgot to mention this is my New Year's Smash review, but whenever the Good Brothers were beating up on Jon Moxley, and I'm thinking, and these are the same guys that called him a nerd, was that payback for Moxley on him saying, "Nobody calls me a nerd"? You can show the difference in the booking from all those times, but anyways, so we have that. And then we get to this match. Remember what I said at the beginning of this review that AEW Dark is the cracks between the actual live TV show on a weekly basis on live TV, AEW, and AEW Dark, an internet show. The cracks are starting to fall, like the continuity's like not there. This is one of two matches I feel like that they didn't do. That they're starting to show. Cody Rhodes and Peter Avalon. So, I guess Peter Avalon's been getting some big push on AEW Dark. But the thing is like a lot of stuff that's going on AEW Dark, it's not being brought over to the actual main show. The show that everybody's watching more is Dynamite. So, when a guy like, Peter Avalon shows up, and he's having a competitive match with Cody Rhodes, it's like, okay, but who is this guy? Like, there's no vignette. He just walks out there like we're supposed to know who he is. And that's a little bit of a problem. Cody Rhodes beats him, but it felt more like a filler match because we actually do not know, like, who Peter Avalon really is. Like, Prince Pretty Peter Avalon, right, he's calling himself now. I think he was originally, when Dynamite started, the librarian or something like that. I don't know. But, again, they're giving Peter Avalon this big push and a lot of wins on AEW Dark. But like I said, they're not, like, transitioning that from Dark, an internet show that not everybody watches, to the main show where everybody's watching, and they're lost and not sure what's going on. So that happened with that show, with that one. FTR had a backstage segment with Jurassic Express, and they're setting up a match with Jungle Boy and Dax Harwood next week. And then the second match I got to gripe a little bit about is Jon Moxley versus Nick Comoroto. It was Moxley's first match back, but like I said, again, they bring out Nick Comoroto like we're supposed to know who he is. Yet we do not, because he's only been on AEW Dark. If he comes out like an unknown, though, like a newbie, and then having a match, and like even like, storyline-wise, like the announcers don't know who he is or something like that, or whatnot, it's like, there's a different story there. Moxley beats him by submission, but like I said, again, it's just matches like that, and I'm starting kind of like, slowing up, because again, I've talked about a lot of stuff already, and we're only getting halfway through the actual show. But because I think this is only like the first hour and 15 we've gotten through so far at Dynamite. But like I said, like the whole point of this is, I mean, yes, you can say the same thing about Impact and AEW. Like, there's stuff going on Impact Wrestling that they're not showing on AEW since, they have a little bit of a partnership going on right now. But, especially with Dark, where it's a show that not everyone watches, they gotta be able to, have these talents known on both Dark and on Dynamite. Not just like have them show up on Dynamite like we're supposed to know who they are when we really don't. So that's a little bit of a nitpick I got there also. Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer have an argument backstage, and they're taking on each other next week. Again, I still don't understand this whole storyline between Eddie Kingston, Pac, and Lance Archer. Again, I don't get it. I still don't get that one at all. We've got that one. And here's what Don Callis mentions that came in about the black eye. We have a 6-man match between Matt Hardy and Private Party taking on Matt Sydal and Top Flight. So, after listening to a couple other podcasts, I'm starting to understand a little more what's going on with this Matt Hardy heel character. I guess they're going on for the story of Matt Hardy getting that concussion and going back to his old heel gimmick where he was kind of more so like a con artist or something like that. Since he's now more in like a business manager role position with AEW. Because as he said, the main reason why he didn't re-sign with WWE is because he may be getting towards the end of his career, but he still felt he could contribute in some ways. And with WWE not giving him the opportunity, like he said, he wanted to have like a type of talk show where he got someone like, Chad Gable or some other, fresh new talent over. But instead, now he's doing that with Private Party. But he's doing that not just being like, oh, the good guy Matt Hardy loves. No, Matt Hardy is developing this heel character, where basically, again, he's trying to, run a business and run things his way, basically. And now that, he is signed with Private Party, his buddies, he's getting into their heads more. Now, Private Party at first was, like, resisting to what Matt Hardy's trying to make them do. But here, and even, like, I forgot, and even, like, in an Impact, which, by the way, apparently, Private Party is going to be taking on the Good Brothers on Impact for the Impact Tag titles against the Good Brothers, which should be a good match. But this match here, Private Party and Matt Hardy win. They defeat Matt Sydal, and Top Flight by using a steel chair, and afterwards, Private Party takes out. Well, Matt Hardy and Private Party take out Sydal and Top Flight with the chair shots and heel tactics, cementing a heel turn. So it looks like that they're moving forward and embracing the vision that Matt Hardy has for them. So I'm intrigued by that to see where that goes. So that was good. So we have that. And then MJF had this backstage segment. He was addressing the Inner Circle with Al Jericho, noting how he respects and loves them. You know, that's all full of crap. Penelope Ford had a match with Layla Hirsch, who I definitely can say, Penelope Ford, again, she impressed me a lot in a match she had shortly after, I think it was when she actually challenged Hikaru Shida for a women's title not too long after Double or Nothing, where I thought she really impressed me. It's kind of toned back down a bit. Layla Hirsch, though, I gotta say, she's catching my eye. She's interesting me. Her talent of, like, fighting more of, like, like, a combination of both, it's kind of made me feel like, she's someone similar to, like, Keith Lee or how Dominik Dijakovic was. Not how, like, she's built, but her style. Like, she feels like somebody, or, I'll go as far as saying this. She's like Tyler Bate. Someone who, their size does not define their wrestling style, I feel like. They can wrestle like a powerlifter, or they can wrestle like they're, like, a high flyer. Like, mixed in there. Layla Hirsch seems to have that. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with her. Especially also, if I need to mention this really quick, before we get to the last couple little things on the show. I guess coming soon, not sure when it's going to happen, especially, it's a 16 eliminator tournament. Also, with Revolution being a little bit over a month away, it might be too late, I feel like, for this to be a number one contendership for Revolution. Maybe for, let's say, Double or Nothing, or another special that they have. in between, if they have another special in between Revolution and Double or Nothing, maybe, who knows. But we're going to be having a 16-woman number one contenders eliminator tournament, and which really catches my eye because that's something that AEW's women's division needs. A tournament or some ways to, showcase the women and, again, give them a little more of a direction. Because, as I keep saying, AEW's women's division is their weakest spot. They don't have much story really going in their division, so a tournament like this could help establish some more talents. I mean, we have a lot of people, like, Dr. Britt Baker, Nyla Rose, who has already had plenty of opportunities, so I may not be wanting to see her win this tournament, but Britt, okay, because she's been long overdue with how great she's been booked. Thunder Rosa, Layla Hirsch, I mentioned before, Penelope Ford, Chris Statlander, who I'm not sure when she's going to be back, hopefully soon from her ACL tear. Serena Deeb, I mentioned Thunder Rosa already, I believe so, yeah. And a few others, Red Velvet, Abaddon. So there's a lot of spots, and there's a lot of surprises too. I know some people are hoping maybe Tessa Blanchard comes over to AEW, which could be cool. Here's one name I'm going to throw out there. So, again, I mentioned before, AEW and Impact Wrestling kind of have a little bit of like a partnership going here right now. Who else is in AEW? Do I have to get up and go right over to my desk and pull out wherever I put them at? I think right underneath there, they're right there. That little package I got of one of my favorite women's wrestlers who kindly wished me a happy birthday this year. Thanks, my good friend Joe Miller. Yeah, what if I would mark out, I would love to see it happen, what if Deonna Purrazzo was one of the surprise entrants into this tournament? I mean, I know she's the Knockouts Women's Champion, but ooh. I'm just saying. I mean, get her in there, Tenille Dashwood in there, Tessa Blanchard maybe. I don't know what other women they would pull to get in there, but I'm just saying. There is options. There is options. Oh, Tia Couponer tweeted me something saying, check this out. Breaking news, Sting and Darby Allin. Okay, yeah, it is Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. Yeah, I knew it was one of them, but yeah, yes, I was aware of that, but thank you for mentioning that. But yeah, this women's tournament has me excited. I don't know who the surprises could be, but I think it could also help establish and give some more women in the women's division some more direction. But again, if you want to bring in a few surprises from Impact, and if you want to throw in the knockout women's champion in there, because you've had Matt Hardy and Private Party go over to Impact Wrestling. You've had Kenny Omega go over to Impact Wrestling. There's a chance, especially from a big Deonna Purrazzo fan like me. Oh boy. I kind of hope it happens. I mean, yeah, Tessa Blanchard in there would be awesome. Tenille Dashwood. There was someone else that I keep hearing buzz about. I can't remember what her name was. I'm not sure. But yes, if they surprise me with Deonna Purrazzo in the tournament, you bet my ass I'm going to be watching AEW every single week. And screw NXT. Screw NXT. Just kidding. NXT still means something to me. Even though, again, they've been a little off lately. But, they still mean something to me. But you bet your money I'm going to be looking forward to AEW every single week if they bring Deonna Purrazzo on with this partnership with them in Impact. Even though I could always watch Impact Wrestling, I know. But still, I watch enough wrestling. I can't keep changing around. I can't keep changing up my reviews. So, maybe, just maybe, we'll get Deonna in this tournament. Maybe. We'll see. Crossing my fingers. We'll see. Anyways, so we also had, after this match with Penelope Ford and Layla Hirsch, Miro making Chuck Taylor, who he now owns, tell Orange Cassidy that Miro is his best friend, which Chuck does, and then Cassidy leaves the arena. So basically now, Miro's using Chuck Taylor the advantage of bullying Orange Cassidy, pretty much. So we have that. Good Brothers and Kenny Omega attack Penta El Zero Miedo backstage. Okay. And then we have the main event, which was the triple threat tag match between all 6 members of the Inner Circle, letting off steam. But the stipulation was the winner of that match will be the tag team, the only team that can challenge for the AEW tag titles from the Inner Circle. And again, the teams were Chris Jericho and MJF, Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager, and then Pride and Powerful, Santana and Ortiz. Great match. I gotta point out the one botch though in this match. Chris Jericho botched the lion salt, which he never really does. So I'm starting to get a little bit concerned because I will be real. Jericho's still doing good stuff on a microphone, but his matches are kind of toning down a little bit. I mean, he's 50 years old right now, so I don't know if being 50 is starting to catch up to him or what, but starting to worry me a tad, especially when he botched that lion salt. But other than that, still an excellent match. Again, I continue to like how, because I think what's first going to happen is, if there's anyone that's going to be leaving the Inner Circle first, it's Sammy Guevara. I feel like with, him and MJF being both, the young guys in there, basically, MJF's going to first kind of kick Sammy Guevara out as, the young upstart and going to turn Sammy babyface. Because I feel like we've had a couple fresh heel turns for AEW, but I feel like a face turn, a big, monumental, oh my god moment face turn needs to happen with AEW. And I feel like Sammy Guevara could be the one to pull that off. But they're teasing that there. Again, there's still the tension between Wardlow and Jake Hager involved in there. And there's also, Pride and Powerful, who, are destined to be the best team in the world. They're just like, well, what about us? Pretty much. They want to get their hand in their cards on the table also with, being tag champs. So, hey, well, why not us also? But they tease all those tensions still. And it also led eventually to Chris Jericho and MJF winning the match, as MJF cheated, of course, to win the match. And, of course, it was rushed off the air, but great ending and great main event. Also, like the remix they made for Chris Jericho and MJF. Again, I like how, when you're the best on a team and doing stuff like that, you gotta, spice it up a bit. And I thought they did good with that. But yeah, wow, almost 40 minutes. I feel like this is probably my longest Dynamite review. I know I think a couple of my AEW pay-per-view reviews have gotten longer than this, but wow, I didn't expect to talk this long about this show, especially since I didn't really watch it. But AEW Dynamite was good. Like I said, had some nitpicks in there, especially like the repetitiveness and the directionless way for the Dark Order. The repetitiveness with the Sting, Darby Allin, and Team Taz. And of course, like I said before, the stuff with with AEW Dark and AEW Dynamite not falling along with each other, go through the cracks, like what happened with the Cody Rhodes, the Jon Moxley matches. That kind of made this show feel a little more filler. So I'll give it a C+. It was a decent show, but not one of the best shows Dynamite I've seen. But still a C+. But like I said, shows like this are going to happen. And you just hope for better next week. I have faith that AEW is not going to consistently put on shows like this. But, we'll have our hits and our misses. This is just one of our misses. But, still some good stuff on the show. But like I said, just not one of the strongest. But, yeah, with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for this review. Only thing we got is Tyler saying TNA Invade AEW was short, he thought. And, he's doing good. Excellent. But yeah, so I'm going to take a break here now, go get a snack or something, polish up with myself with NXT, and I'll come back here again and do my NXT live review. Depending on what time it is, I might have to cut it for now and do the rest of the stuff tomorrow. But my plan is, again, to get these reviews done here today or tomorrow. This week with it being the Rumble, again, I'm trying to do other top 10s still with, the end of the year stuff. And, of course, do something with AEW from 2020. But this week I want to focus on doing my Royal Rumble match recap and reviews for both the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches from last year. Get my Rumble predictions in there as well. Of course, you all know how long that video usually is, since I do predict out both of the Rumble matches. even though it's going to be tough to predict this year because there's not really much hype going on with the Rumble going in there with some people, but we'll see. Anyways, so that's my review. Again, I gave AEW Dynamite a C+, and I'll be back up here soon again to do my NXT review. So what are your thoughts on the show, guys? Do you think it was one of the weaker shows? Do you think they have some tweaking to do? Do you also think AEW needs to do a better job with, meshing things in from AEW Dark onto AEW Dynamite? Leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. Also, I forgot to talk about this. So, Matt Hardy, though, being in this, heel, con artist gimmick and whatnot, what if that leads to him, going into business also with Dark Order? I could see him become the exalted one from this character that he's doing here. Keep that in mind also as well. So I forgot to mention that in the review, but yes. So that's what I do with this review, guys. Again, leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. Slap a like on the video. Subscribe or comment on my channel. And follow me on Twitter at DemandAir93. And I'll see you next time, guys, for my NXT live review. So until then, guys, I'm checking out. Have a good rest of your day. If I don't talk to you soon, peace out, everybody.